Welcome to CLIC Connect. I'm your host. I want to thank Chicago Title and Red Roof for making this show possible. We have relaunched in a new format, and our first guest is Drew Hardy, the president and founder of 24/7 Hotels. Drew, welcome to CLIC Connect. How are you?
Good. Glad to have a conversation, Craig. And speaking of conversation, kudos to you for keeping the dialogue going and everyone engaged as we all manage through to recovery.
Thank you, my friend. That means the world to me. Hey, you know what? You've been doing a lot, hospitality-wise for decades now. Tell us, during COVID-19, how have you and 24/7 Hotels taken care of the various ownership groups that you work with and that you're managing their assets?
Well, good question. Obviously, nobody had a playbook for this one. So I think we were
Right.
able, well served by our ability to, be pretty reactive and responsive and transparent. I would just say, just to touch on the important areas, in operations, our ops leaders answered the rallying cry. They immediately delved into a multi-layered contingency
Right.
plan for cost containment. Not knowing how deep or how long this was going to be, we had it programmed for every level of revenue decline to be able to make sure that we were containing costs as much as possible. On the revenue generation side, the sales and marketing teams, rather than once they got past handling the initial deluge of all the displacement of business, it was, we were proud of the way they reacted and were able to quickly identify and quantify and qualify the new business that was coming into the market, albeit at a much lower level, but there was new demand brought on by the government programs out there, and frankly, a lot of it was moving very quickly, and a lot of people froze, really
Right.
understand what the business was and if you wanted to take it or not. So I think we did a really good job of that, and our digital marketing team, e-commerce team, played an important role as well. Not only messaging out, all the safety protocols, our safe and sound plan, and our response to COVID in the hotels to give the customers some sort of peace of mind and confidence in traveling. Our digital marketing team, we have deep relationships with the OTA frontline out there, and I think because
Right.
of those relationships, we were able to get in front of that business that was coming through those channels. Aside from that, we always pride ourselves in the support we offer our owners and their investment objectives, and in this case, their financial well-being. And as everybody knows, the PPP loan program out there played an important role in helping everybody
Absolutely.
bridge this period of time. And when that first came out, it looked like it was going to come and go very fast, and a lot of people had problems accessing it. So we leveraged our banking relationship and were able to get about nearly 100% of our owners all PPP loans on the first round. And,
Wow. Congratulations.
including for assets that we didn't even manage for them in some cases. So we were happy to be able to support our owners in that regard.
That's great. That's an outstanding job. And, I think you're absolutely right about your sales and marketing team as well. There's so many people out there that have not known what to do because they weren't around when we had the last downturn. And granted, that was a financial one. This was a global pandemic. Now, you have a few hotels under construction right now, Drew. Please tell us how these projects are going. You got a Hilton Garden Inn in Temecula. You got a Hyatt House in Sacramento, Hampton Inn and Suites in Rancho Cucamonga, and a Cambria in Calabasas that I think is scheduled to open spring of next year. So how's the construction going?
We have roughly 6 projects, which you mentioned most of them there, all in the ground already, including some that even started post-pandemic, believe it or not,
Yeah.
which I think is a real testament to not only the strength of those ownerships, but the strength of those projects. They're all progressing about as well as could be expected, with no disruption to the progress, and most, if not all, are due to open next year in Q2 or Q3.
Very good. Now, you guys are the rock and roll hotel management company. What sets 24/7 Hotels apart from the rest of the pack?
Well, we when we set out to build our business model, I guess I would kind of relate it to the In-N-Out burger business model. It's not try to be everything to everyone.
Right.
And, minus the special sauce, because I don't really think there's any special sauce to it. We just knew exactly how we wanted to position our business and our operational platform. And so we built it with just a very disciplined focus on segment, scale, and geography.
Very
Geography
good.
important because it allows us to really know our markets and the demand dynamics in those markets.
Yep.
Plus, as we're able to cluster in certain markets, we start to realize more economies of scales and pass those margins on to our owners. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is we're really committed to having that constant presence at our hotels with our corporate support leaders. So it doesn't make sense to be sending them out all over the country. We like to be within an easy 1.5 to 2 hour flight max and have them out there on regular occasion.
Right.
Secondly, our focus on segment is very key to our success. We focus on a very narrow bandwidth, and doing so, it helps us leverage, what the brand brings to the table, understanding their systems really well,
Right.
and also not bringing it, controlling our cost structure so we don't overlay that onto this operation. And then lastly, scale. And scale is important as it relates to how we built the organization. We like to keep a low ratio of corporate support staff to hotels, maybe 7, 8 per corporate leader. Allows them to really focus and get to know their hotels, help them maximize their potential.
Being one of the founders of the company, you, David Wani, and Bill Swank, who has since retired, have built just a stellar organization based here in California. Are you guys still doing deals? I mean, we got to hear some good news out there. I mean, the construction, pipeline for you guys is great. That's outstanding. You actually started some projects post the COVID-19 scenario. So what about a deal? You've always been sourcing deals for the owners that you represent and manage other assets for. That's been a hallmark with you guys. Are you still doing that? Do you have any deals in the pipeline?
Well, I got some good news for you, Craig. We do. We actually are currently working with one of our ownership groups on a transaction. I can't go into the details on it right now, but it'll be closing, more to come in the next couple of weeks. And again, a transaction that took root probably right around the onset of the pandemic. So there is deal flow out there, and we're continuing to selectively look at that. And we've identified other opportunities that we'll be working with some ownerships.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I can't wait to hear about it. Well, there's your ticket back for a second part of this interview, Drew. We can talk about your deal once it closes. Hey, I want to thank you for being on the premiere episode of the new CLIC Connect. How can people get a hold of you and your sales team to sign a couple of franchise agreements with you?
Well, honored to star in your premiere, my good friend. But as far as getting a hold of us, 247hotels.com. We have one of the best in the business in biz dev, Gary Gray, and all his information is there and ready to help you, even if it's just to call on him as a resource and anything related to your business.
And at this point, we want to bring in our producer and introduce her to everybody. Here's producer Danny joining the conversation.
Hello.
Hi, Danny.
Hi. Good to see you guys.
Good seeing you. Just so that everybody knows what a small world it is, Drew Hardy is a younger brother I never had, and he grew up with Danny's uncle, who was a premier wide receiver for Boise State. Just kidding, Eric. We all know you were a linebacker and you got the sack record, at Boise State.
Love that.
So let's all say hi to Uncle Eric. Hi, Uncle Eric.
Hi, Uncle Eric. I keep this in
my... there we go.
Perfect.
So I thought we'd end with a little levity, introduce you all to producer Danny. She's the one that makes this show run and look good. And if you would like to be on CLIC Connect, please contact us at info@cliconference.com. Until the next episode, aloha.